Hey everybody, Dr. D again here with your lab access video, if you will, showing you how to access the lab materials. So here's our homepage as usual, and there's this lab section down here you should have read by now. Let's jump into our lab syllabus here. Remind ourselves, take a look at this and remind us what we got to do here. So here's our schedule, okay? And this is just the labs. Of course, you have a schedule that has everything on it. It's just the labs. And you see the Introduction to Science module, basically, if you will, has testable observations and data interpretation in it. So there's 2 labs. All the labs are at least 1 week apart. So just like if you're doing it during a regular semester, you won't find any that are less than a week apart. Okay, so this is the schedule, and you'll notice there's 2 of them that require several days of observation. So while this one is due September 21st, you can't start at September 20th. Okay, that's one thing you have to be aware of. And on my assignment schedule, I gave you an idea of when you could start the lab so you'd have plenty of time to finish it. They're due at 11:59 p.m. just like all other assignments. They can be submitted anytime. All the drop boxes for the labs are currently open. You can simply email me about any questions, but like I mentioned before, the accompanying website pretty much has all the information. Students who've used this in the past have really had a good experience and really are able to figure out most things on their own, but I have no problem with you if you need help asking those questions. 9 labs, 15 points each. Your lowest is drop, so you can get 120 points in lab. That's 4% of your grade, so roughly a quarter of your grade. There's the website where you're going to register. When you register, make sure you use your MTSU email address. Do not use a personal email address. The best place to get the kit is from the campus bookstore, since they have them in stock now, ready to sell. However, they do mark it up. And if you want to save yourself $25 to $30, you can order directly from eSciences here. Once you use your email address for MTSU, that'll be linked to the D2L account. You order it, just check on their shipping time. If they tell you it's 4 weeks to ship it, then you can't get it there. If they can get it to you in a week or 2, you'll be okay, because what I'll show you is this is the first one that's due that actually requires the kit, the acid mine drainage one. So September 21st, you need it 3 days before that to play it safe. Obviously, you're going to want to have that by about the 15th. So make sure they can get it to you in time. These 2 will be available to you on the website once you register and order the kit, because you'll get an access code immediately, and then you'll be able to get in through D2L and do these 2. These are just two paper labs that you're filling out. That's all they are, to get you familiar with data and observations and things like that. So as long as you can get your kit by, say, about the 15th, you should be good. That gives you 6 days until the acid mine drainage one is due. I will tell you this, though. If you order from them and then there's something missing or something wrong and they have to ship it to you, that creates a problem, and that's your responsibility. So if you want to make sure that you've got everything and you've got time, because if you buy a kit at the bookstore and it's not complete, you'll be able to contact them and they can ship you something in 2 weeks to replace something in your kit that's missing or anything like that. So when you get your kit, you should open it up and look at it all immediately. Safety is a key thing. Even though you're working at home, there are some chemicals in this kit, and you don't want kids getting to some of the stuff. You don't want to be eating while you're doing this. You want to be wearing your glasses that are provided with the lab kit. So I'll show you how to do this. You'll go into Getting Started Lab Activities, and you'll fill out the safety agreement and submit it to the Dropbox. It's a safety contract. So the procedures are all explained to you through the website and everything. Just make sure you look at the procedures ahead of time. Occasionally, you have to have a couple household items that you're contributing. And if, let's say you need paper towels and you don't have any paper towels, you're going to want to run by the store and pick those up before you start the lab. Okay. As I mentioned, a couple labs have a couple days of observation, so be aware of that. You have to start them ahead of time. All labs are submitted through Dropbox, and they must include 3 pictures. Except for those first 2 labs, you don't have to have any pictures. 1 picture with the experimental setup, 1 showing the progress, and some of them don't necessarily have progress that's visible, and 1 showing the finished lab. So if they don't have a real progress then, you know, just do it as a selfie with you in front of some stuff. But the in progress picture needs to be a selfie. The other two pictures need to have an index card with the date, time, and your signature on it. Okay, so you're going to be submitting 3 pictures. Now, I prefer a single PDF document for your labs with, you know, all the information and in the figure and the pictures and any figures and data. But if you're not good at converting things to PDF and getting pictures in there, you can submit multiple documents, but you can also just put the pictures right into Word and submit a single document also. So the eScience Lab website has all the information you need, and ultimately be submitting only the worksheet to the Dropbox. There's a lot of information on that website. There's even, you know, questions to help you learn the material and things like that. You won't be graded on that, even though it is like a quiz that might give you a grade. You're not getting graded on that. You can read the statement about academic honesty. I have no toleration for that. So be sure that you're doing your own work. I have no problem with people communicating and asking each other questions, but you need to ultimately hand in your own work. You'd have a problem with that last summer. Okay, so that's the lab syllabus. Now let's take a look at how to access the content of that lab. So if you go in through content, you'll notice over here, down at the bottom, I have all the lab experiments. Now these are in groups. There's 9 labs. These are the topics. There's 2 water quality labs and 2 in Introduction to Science. That gives you your 9, because there's only 7 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So these are not actual links to the labs. When you click on one of these, and I'm just going to go into Introduction to Science, your first one, it actually takes you to the eSciences website. Now here is all the information, okay? And actually, before I do this, let me go to, I want to do this here and show you this. Go to the course introduction, and you got your getting started with lab activities right here. It's going through here. It takes the same website. But what this is giving you tips for success, what your digital lab manual is. Your digital lab manual is just the material that's provided here on their website. It has a video here, has some data sheets that let you know if you've got some chemicals, laboratory safety and equipment. So you need to go through all of this. Video on lab safety, watch this. These are short, this will take you no time. Then you go to download documents. There's your lab safety contract. Don't worry about this, environmental science, time, and materials. This is the lab safety contract you need to download, fill out, and submit to the Dropbox, okay? So there's a spot for Dropbox for that. That's the first thing you need to do early on. Now, going back to content and going into the labs, what we did before, then you got all the information for each of these. A lot of information here, making observations. You basically go through these one at a time. Next and next, and it scrolls down pretty quickly. So it looks like a lot of material. Now, I will tell you that some of the material here on the left, you know, you might not need to know about. So most of the stuff in this early one is useful, but it's got stuff like, you know, lab report like this. And you're not doing a fancy lab report. So this you're not going to need to go through. So as you go through here, it does talk about things like types of variables, and I do ask that stuff. So you're going to want to go through some of this, but there'll be some of these labs in which there'll be a lot of extra information there. Now, when you get down to assignments and procedures, these are the 2 that you're responsible for. This is a 3rd one you're not responsible for. This is actually the entire document, so you don't want to use this. It's going to include this here. This is typically where the procedure is. For this lab, there's no real procedure. So if you click on this, this is the document you're handing in and downloadable. But that won't work for all the labs. So I want to show you, when you go into content now, to get to the actual labs that you're going to want to hand in. Let's just go to non-renewable. Let's go to renewable energy. Okay, there's your assignments. You can click on it here. You can just scroll down. There's solar energy. If I click on solar energy, this is specifically takes me to the solar energy downloadable lab that has what you have to hand in, all the questions and all the data sheets. But first, you'll need to do the stuff at the website to learn this material. So you're going to click on that. It's going to take you to this just like we did before. But when you go to assignments and procedures and you click on solar energy now, this is just the procedure. It has part of the sheet you have to hand in. You have to hand in this, but it doesn't have any of your questions or anything. You see? So the questions are not there. So they're contained in here, but this has all three of the exercises. So it's a little tricky. So really, you always want to go back to your content. Your content here. And we were doing renewable energy, right? Go to your content here and click on solar energy here. This right here is simply the downloadable document. If we open this, it's just a Word document. This is the table that you had to hand in, but it's also got all your questions. So that's what you need to hand in. So that's the best way to access all of these labs. So once again, you're going to go in through your content to access the actual document that needs to go into Dropbox. And then scroll down to assignments, and there it is, solar energy. You can review it. There's the exercise that actually has to be handed in. That's going to keep you from getting into trouble and opening up their, opening up their complete, here's renewable energy resources. This is going to keep you from having to, open up this, which has all of them, and then choosing between these, know which one you have to do. And this will only have the procedure. So you need to go in through content. That's a little bit tricky. Just has to do with a little glitch with the website. So when you purchase your kit, it'll come in a brown box like this. And under the kit, under the lid will be an access code. Well, like I said, if you purchase it online, you'll get that access code and read it immediately. Once you get home, you'll have that access code. Use your MTSU email and go through your kit. Make sure everything is in there. It's got a lot of stuff. It's got gloves and goggles. It's got plastic cylinders and chemicals and soils and all that kind of stuff. I believe I have said everything. I've told you about the safety agreement. Once again, all your labs go into Dropboxes, and they're all open currently. So you can actually do the labs at your own pace. It's useful to kind of, coordinate them with the material that we're doing, because that's going to help you do better on the lab and have a better understanding of the material. But the acid mine drainage lab, quite frankly, we don't really talk about that much in the lecture portion of the course. But I wanted to give you something to do with fossil fuel energy, and they didn't have another really good lab, so I chose that one, because acid mine drainage is a result of using coal for energy. But you can work at these labs at your own pace and submit them early, but they do have Dropbox submissions. With that, once again, make sure you access your labs through the content. You'll be fine. And make sure you get your safety agreement done as soon as possible. And that case, I'm going to stop my screen share here and end the video.